heart. Oh, love, you make me feel drunk. Everyone hopes and waits for you. Men wees nicht, wenn du kommst zu gehen. Du gambest sie herein, später hey.
All right, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our show tonight. My name is Tara Wiedenfeller. I am the executive producing director for Why I Love Jewish. And tonight we are happy to present Yiddish Tangos, produced by Why I Love Jewish and presented by the MARjcc, the Michael Ann Russell Jewish Community Center. I'd like to remind everybody that this is day 2 of our Yiddish Fest 2021. So I'd like to thank our sponsors for tonight's show, as well as all of the programming, over 30 events that we have this week. Our sponsors are Office Evolution of Coral Springs, the Betsy, South Beach, the University of Miami, Dr. Bruce and Leslie Zaffron, Half Steinloff and Company, John and Amy Israel Pregelman, Alvin Brown, and Alvin Hagel. Now, like I said, this event tonight is part of our Yiddish Fest, which will go until September 5th. We have over 30 live and pre-recorded events for you to enjoy, both virtually and the one we have here in person. So some of the events I want to talk about is tomorrow night, Wednesday, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we have a virtual concert. Daniel Kahn, the Yiddish song smuggler, so don't miss that. On Thursday, September 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we also have another virtual concert, singing sensation Elita. And then Saturday, another highlight we have at 8 p.m. Eastern Time is Avi Hoffman's Still Jewish After All These Years. So these are just a few of the highlights of the many, many shows we have for this Yiddish Fest 2021. So, I invite you now to sit back, relax, and enjoy Avi Hoffman, Aaron Kula, and the Klezmer Company Jazz Orchestra in Yiddish Tangos.
Well, thank you. Thank you to the musicians. Thank you for watching. What we did tonight, or what we're doing tonight, is combining two old traditions. The traditions of European klezmer music that comes from all parts of Europe, not just Eastern Europe, and the tango rhythms, all different styles of tango rhythms in twos and threes and fours, slow ballads, fast two-steps. And what we're going to try to do is find ways to blend these two very contrasting cultures musically and with the words and with the style of our traditional this is a traditional tango ensemble with violin, bass, accordion, and piano. So now what I'd like to do is introduce the fabulous Avi Hoffman.
Thank you. Thank you. Shalom Aleichem, everyone out there. It's so great to be here with our Yiddish Tangos. Aaron and I have been doing the show now for a few years. We've traveled all over the world doing this particular concert. And I am always amazed at how we find these incredible parallels between the world of Yiddish and the world of tango. And so we're going to do a song that was written by Ilya Trilling and Oskar Ostroff. It's called Mein Teire, Ich hab dich lieb. My darling, I love you. Mein Teire, ich hab dich lieb mit der Liebe göttlich rein. I love you with a love so very, very pure. And so tonight, every number, we're going to bring you the lyrics, we're going to bring you the music, and we hope you have a good time with Yiddish Tangos. Mein Teire, ich hab dich lieb. Mit der Liebe göttlich rein. Find mein Herz, der klär ich dir heilig, schwör ich dir, soll die ganze Welt sein. Mein Leben hat aufgescheint, mit Levone schöner Pracht. Und Chaloim ist ein glücklicher, I declare my love for you, and with you, the whole world is ours. My life is brighter when you are in it, and all my dreams are happier because I love you so much. Ich darf nicht keiner schieren, wo's teug mir Reichtum Geld, in ure kleine Tiere, doch dort herrscht das Glück von der Welt. Mein Teire, hab dich lieb, jeden Tag und jeder schon, und kein äußeres Gessere, Frieden bessere, ist Our next song is a very famous Yiddish theater song, written by Chaim Tauberman and Alexander Olshanetsky. And many of you have probably heard this, Ich hab dich zu viel lieb. You'll notice a theme in the evening about love. This particular song means I love you much too much. I'm alone again with my longing and my pain. I've taken to gambling to find my joy in life. She has left me for another. She can't understand my great love. She's marrying someone else, and I am devastated because ich hab dich zu viel lieb. I love you much too much. This song is from 1934.
I'd like to just say that this song was written not only by Alex Olshanetsky, but he wrote it as a tango. So we are not changing any of his music. He wrote it as a tango, and we'll play it as he wrote it. Eight, okay? 1 and 2 and...
Ich bin a Zind allein geblieben, mit mein Bänkschaft, mit mein Weh. Ich hab die Korten abgeklebt und ich sich mein Glück in der See. Sie hat mir verbitten, auf a Zweiter, mein große Liebe kann sie nicht verstehen. Mit jener zu der Gruppe geht sie und ich bleib und allein. Nur welche darf die Korten oben, sich hab ich gewahrt, gegart. Mein Jugend ist doch schon begraben, mein Masel hat mich abgenannt. Ich hab dich zu viel lieb, ich trug auf dir kein Hass. Ich hab dich zu viel lieb, sie sein auf dir in Kass. Ich hab dich zu viel lieb, sie sein auf dir Goldbeis. Weggegeben, mein Herz in meine Schome. Ich bin krank, nur mein Gedanke tracht nicht von der Komme. Ich hab dich zu viel lieb, zu sein auf dir Goldbeis. I love you much too much to be angry with you. I love you much too much to be upset. I must be a fool to love you so much. I don't want revenge. I just want your love. Ich hab dich zu viel lieb, zu sein auf dir Gorbez. Ich hab dich zu viel lieb, zu sein auf dir in Kass. Ich hab dich zu viel lieb, zu sein auf dir Gorbez. Anna, ich heiß, ich weiß, ich hab dich lieb. Ich hab dir mein Leben weggegeben, mein Herz in meine Schome. Ich bin krank, nur mein Gedanke tracht nicht von ne Komme. Ich hab dich zu viel lieb, zu sein auf dir Gorbez. Anna, ich heiß, ich weiß, ich hab dich lieb. Thank you, thank you. So, I'd like to ask you a question before we do this next song, because you will know this song. It may be one of the most famous Yiddish songs ever written, but never quite done as a tango. So here's the question. What is the most valuable thing that God can bless you with? You can't pay money for it. It's free. But when you lose her, you will cry bitter tears. You know who I'm referring to. A Yiddish Mame. This song from 1925 by Yellen and Polak. Ich will bei euch a Kasche fragen, sagt mir, wer es kennt. Mit welche teure Vermögensbench Gott alle Mensch. Man kauft es nicht für kein Geld, das gibt mir nur siehst. Und doch als man verliert das Wieviel Tränen man vergisst. A zweite gibt man keinem nicht, es hilft nicht, kein Gewinn. Oi, wer es hat verloren, der weiß schon, was ich mein. A Yiddish Mame, ich tu kein Besseres auf der Welt. A Yiddish Mame, oi wie bitter, wenn sie fällt. Wie schön und lichtig ist in Haus, wenn die Mame steht. In Wasser und Feuer wollt sie gelaufen, fahr ihr Kind. Mithalten ihr Teier, das ist gewiss die größte Sinn. Oi, wie glücklich und reich ist der Mensch, was hat, als a schöne Matone geschenkt von nothing better in the whole world. A Yiddish mama. How bitter life is when she's no longer there. The house is so bright and beautiful when she's around. And how sad the house becomes. God decides to take her back to him. In Wasser und Feuer wird sie gelaufen vor ihr Kind. Nicht halten ihr Teier, das ist gewiss die größte Sinn. Oi, wie glücklich und reich ist der Mensch, was hat, als a schöne Matone, geschenkt von Gott. Oi, mein teure jüdische Mame, Mame, Hashem done. Aaron?
So, klezmer music and Argentinian rhythms come from places that you wouldn't believe, places that are not from where they say they are. Argentinian rhythms come from Africa. And klezmer music, well, that comes from all over the world. So you put them together, you get a really interesting, how should we call it, cholent, if you know what that is, which is kind of a very, very rich stew of everything in it, and it just cooks. It cooks for a long time. So this next piece is actually called a Turkish rondo, but it was in a klezmer book for violins in 1910, and it said International Klezmer Violin Melodies. So who knows where it really came from? Is it Turkish? Is it klezmer? Is it Argentinian? There may be a little bit of a, we'll say a bolero, who knows? It could have a little bit of everything in it. So we're gonna play this, and you can figure out what it is when you hear it, and maybe think about what it might look like if it was danced.
gentlemen, Nuria Martinez and Armando Orsusa, our wonderful tango dancers. Thank you. Good. Our next song is really one of my favorites. I had never heard this song until Aaron introduced it to me for an album that he made, and I had the pleasure and honor of singing this on the album. And what shocked me is not that the music was written by the great Abe Elstein, one of the greatest Yiddish theater composers in the history of Yiddish theater. What shocked me was that the lyrics were actually written by the greatest Yiddish theater actress and performer of all time. Some of you may have heard of her. Her name was Molly Pecan. This song was written in 1943. And Molly Pecan was probably at the height of her career. She was making movies. She was in theater on Broadway, one of the greatest Yiddish theater actresses. And she wrote this song, believe it or not, all about love. It's called Liebe. And it is such a beautiful song about how important love is. Aaron, anything about the song itself?
Well, Abe Elstein, the composer, has the distinction of being the first Jewish person to graduate from the Juilliard School of Music, Theater, and Dance in New York City, Juilliard. And so he was not only a Jewish musician, but he was a highly trained and educated, conservatory-educated composer, pianist, conductor. And interesting, he also took this style, the tango style, which was very popular between World War I and World War II, and he wrote this piece specifically in the tango style. So again, we are really playing his music the way he thought of it for our ensemble, but he wrote it as a love tango.
Herzen schwer, ois halten kenn ich nicht mehr, Chodges und Mutschit, und es zieht doch, ist es also gut. Liebe, wer hat dich ausgetracht? Liebe, von was bist du gemacht? Jedes Knie, es zieht und bricht, fahre dich. Verdreht dem Kopf wie Wein, jeder Tag, und hofft und wart, fahre dich. Meine weiß nicht, wenn du kommst zu gehen, du kannst sicher rein, später hängt man an zu sehen, als ich schwer Liebe, bist wie ein leichter Schäum, a Ganet, für jeden ist die Liebe noch. Love, where did you come from? Oh, love, what are you made of? Every muscle burns for you. Oh, love, you're in my heart. Oh, love, you make me drunk. Everyone hopes and waits for you. Zu zu gehen. Du gammes sicher rein, später hebt man an zu sehen, was ist schwer und wird zu sein. Liebe, bist wie ein Kinderträum, Liebe, bist wie ein leichter Scheun, Agane, Farayen. Ist die Liebe da? I love you. I love that song so much. It's all you.
Our next tango klezmer fusion is a piece called Sherala. And it was in another book called International Klezmer Melodies.
Freilach.
French,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's for international, but in English because the publishers in 1940s wanted everybody to buy their music, so they made sure to use English, and they would say International Jewish Melodies. And this one is actually a Freilach, which means joyous. It also has a nickname Sherala, which Sher means song. Sherala means little song, like mama, mamala, tata, tatala, and you can explain that.
Asherale. Yeah.
Sherala,
Right.
it's a little song.
It's
So
a diminutive, and it just means a small and beautiful, and it's a lovely way to express your appreciation.
And what I've discovered in doing this world music with all these great musicians is that there's a lot of connection between the rhythms of one part of the world and the rhythms of another. And the Hora rhythm, or the Freilach rhythm, or the Bulgar rhythm, because they're sometimes referred to in those three words, is what we know as the you'd know as the Hava Nagila melody, ba 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 ba. And now, if we listen to the tango rhythm of Liber Tango, which we opened up, it's exactly the same rhythm. So if you put them together and you just change a few of the melody notes, or use a Jewish melody, or a Yiddish melody, or a klezmer melody, with the tango rhythm, all of a sudden you have Yiddish tango. Sherala in a tango style.
Yeah. Fandanka.
This next piece I found in a book from 1909. And again, it was selections of Jewish melodies for violin. And that's also why we're doing it with Stefan Zeichner, because we want to make sure Stefan gets his credit as a solo violinist. And believe me, not everybody could do what he's doing. So this next piece was in this klezmer book, and on it, it said Fandanka. And Fandanka is sort of a twisted word of its own because it implies something Spanish, something French, and something Russian, but it was in a klezmer melody book. So I figured, well, it must be a klezmer melody, and we should play it on any concert where we're doing Yiddish or klezmer music. So this is called Fandanka, and what's interesting is if you hear, when you listen to this piece, it's as if the violinist traveled around the world, and on his back he took a piece of the melody from France, a piece of a melody from Spain, and a piece of the melody from Russia. So there are a lot of parts to this particular Yiddish, klezmer, tango, Spanish, Russian, French piece.
The Wandering Yiddish Tango. The Klezmer Company Jazz Orchestra, Stefan Zeichner on the violin, Gary Thomas on the bass, Phil Hinton on the keyboards, and the great maestro Aaron Kula on the accordion. We're going to take a little break from the tango for just a moment to play a song which I think may be one of the most well-known and important Yiddish lullabies in the whole world. Again, it's a song that many of you out there have probably heard at some point or another. It's called Oifn Pripitchik, which means in the fireplace. I had a friend, a young man in his 30s, who came to me one day and he said, Avi, my mother died when I was very young. And there was a song that she used to sing to me. And for the life of me, I can't remember the song. Something with a chick in it, something chick. I said, well, the only song I could think of would be Oifn Pripitchik. He said, that's it, that's the one. He said, please, Avi, if you could just write down the lyrics for me in Yiddish and then translate them for me into English, that would mean so much to me. So I thought it might be a nice gesture for all of you out there to hear a beautiful Yiddish song, a beautiful Yiddish lullaby, the essence of Yiddishkeit, called Oifn Pripitchik, which means in the fireplace. In the fireplace, a fire is burning, and the house is warm, and the Rebbe, the rabbi, is teaching young children the Aleph Beis, the Yiddish alphabet. Oifn Pripitchik brennt a Feuer und in Stub is a heiß und der Rebbe lernt kleine Kinderlach dem Aleph Beis. You see, my children, remember, dear ones, what you study here. Say it one more time, and then repeat it once again. Kometz Aleph makes the sound O. Seht Kinderlach, gedenk Teiere, was ihr lernte do. Sog noch amol und Tage noch amol, Kometz Aleph O. When you, my children, when you get older, you will understand for yourselves how many tears are in those letters of the alphabet and how much sorrow. Ihr wird Kinderlach älter werden, wird ihr allein verstehen, wie viel in die Häuschen liegen Tränen und wie viel gewähnt. From the sublime to a little bit of the ridiculous, because this next song, to me, is one of those funny songs that happened because Israel became a country. And in this particular year of 1962, Abe Elstein, who we talked about before, together with Aliza Greenblatt, decided to write an Israeli tango love song. And so they called it Chavivale, which is a name. Chaviva, which means lovely one. Chavivale, right? In a little settlement in the Negev, in the desert in Israel, lives a lovely girl. She is as pretty as the whole wide world. Her name is Chavivale. And she's building a little house, and she's weaving a little love nest. Chaviva, Chaviva, Chavivale. Do you know how much I love you? Chaviva, Chaviva, Chavivale. I'll always be waiting at your door. In a Beidale, dorten wohnt a Mädale, schön ist sie wie die ganze Welt. Ihr Nomen ist Chavivale, boet sie a Stibale, für Liebe webt die dorten ihr gezählt. Chaviva, Chaviva, Chavivale, ze weißt die, als ich hab dich so lieb. Chaviva, Chaviva, Chavivale, erwacht wär ich ständig bei dein Stieb. Chavivale, ze weißt die, als ich hab dich so lieb. Chaviva, Chaviva, Chavivale, erwacht, weil ich ständig bei dein Stieb. Oi, weh! Dorten wohnt a Mädale, schön ist sie wie die ganze Welt. Ihr Nomen ist Chavivale, boet sie a Stibale, für Liebe webt sie dorten ihr gezählt. Oh, Chaviva, Chaviva, Chavivale, ze weißt die, als ich hab dich so lieb. Chaviva, Chaviva, Chavivale, erwacht, will ich ständig bei dein Stieb. Chavivale, ze weißt die, als ich hab dich so lieb. Chaviva, Chaviva, Chavivale, erwacht, will ich ständig bei dein Stieb. Ole! Thank you. Chardash. My father was from a little shtetl in Hungary on the border of Czechoslovakia in the Carpathian Mountains. And unfortunately, much like the Yiddish language and the Yiddish culture, my father's entire family and so many others, so many millions of others, were taken away during the Second World War. And so I have a special affinity for anything that sounds or feels or tastes like the czardash, like the Hungarian gypsy sound. Aaron, what more can you tell us about the czardash?
Well, like everything, the Czardash has a place in an Argentinian rhythm if we just give a little, adapt it a little bit here and there. So this is sort of the Hungarian Czardash tango.
So this next song is another very famous Yiddish theater song, a Yiddish, one of these songs that have become iconic in the world of Yiddish music. Many of you probably know the song or have heard the song or at least know the words. Mein Yiddische Mädele, my Jewish girl. It was written in 1927 by Sholem Sakunde, one of the greatest Yiddish theater composers, and the words are by Anshel Sho. And so just the translation real quick. I've had plenty of women from every race, creed, and color, but no one is as beautiful as my Yiddish Mädele, my Yiddish girl with her Yiddish charm. Her hair is like gold, her teeth are like pearls. You couldn't find a girl like mine for all the money in the world. Volk sind in See verschieden. Azoi schön, wie die Freude bei den Jiden. A jüdische Mädel mit ihrem Blick verkischt Wald den ganzen Tag. Ich die noch auf ihrer Kind, fühlst die a jüdischen Tag in den Mein jüdische Mädel, sie ist so schön. Mein jüdische Mädel, mit ihr jüdischen Chen, finden all ihre Herren, die Zähne, die Perlen, nur a jüdische Mädel, kenn seiner so schön. Ihr wird Millionen bei anderen Nationen nicht gewinnen am Medaille mit einem jüdischen Recht. Ihr wird Millionen bei anderen Nationen nicht gewinnen am Medaille mit der jüdischen Recht.
This next piece was written in 1907. It's called Life's Dream, and it's a Viennese waltz. But what's interesting is that it was written by one of the most famous and important Yiddish theater composers of the 20th century, Joseph Rumshinsky. And what I gathered, because I found this as an independent song, very often these composers in the 30s and 40s, they would write little Yiddish operettas, but they would also take songs from their Yiddish operettas and have the publishers sell them so they could make money, because it was all about making a few dollars for their songs. So we don't really know where this came from. We've been searching for the operetta, the Yiddish operetta it belongs to, and maybe one day we'll find it. But I found it as an independent song, just as sheet music in an old Jewish music archives, and it just had on it the title "Life's Dream." So we're going to play this, and imagine 1907, a Yiddish theater composer composed this while he was in America.
Julia Martinez, Armando Orsusa. I am so jealous. I want to be able to dance like that, but I would only step on whoever my partner's toes are, and it would be terrible. Speaking of Joseph Rumshinsky, he actually wrote this next song as well with Tauber. And again, this is one of those Yiddish theater songs that ended up becoming part of the Jewish culture. But eventually, and you know, when we close our concert, it'll be one of the songs that have changed the world. But many of these songs fall into the same kind of area where the Yiddish songs became part of the mainstream culture. This particular song is called Shein Vidi Levone. And believe it or not, it's another love song. You're as beautiful as the moon. You are as radiant as the stars. You are sent from heaven as a gift to me. I won good fortune when I found you. You are as beautiful as 1,000 suns. You have made my heart beat with joy. Your little teeth are like little pearls. And your beautiful eyes, your charming flirtations, your hair, everything that you are attracts me so because you are Shein Vidi Levone. You're as beautiful as the moon. And what year was this? 1938. wie die Levone, lichtig wie die Sterne, fin Himmel Hamadone, bist du mir zugeschickt, mein Glück hab ich gewinnen, wenn ich hab dich gewinnen, scheinst wie tausend Sinnen, hast du mein Herz verlegt. Deine Zänderlach weiß wie Perlach, mit deiner schöne Augen, deine Händerlach, deine Herrlach, hast mich zugezeugt, geschenkt wie die Levone, lichtig wie die Sterne, den Himmel Amadone, bist du mir Ziege, bist du mir Ziege, Ziege. Now, normally that song is not a tango, but I love the fact that Aaron is able to take these songs and rearrange them to create a whole new genre of Yiddish tango from songs that you may have heard otherwise. We are actually coming to the close of our concert with maybe the most famous Yiddish song of all time. All the experts agree that this particular song is the world's best known Yiddish song. And I'll tell you why. It was written in 1932 by Jacob Jacobs and Sholem Secunda, two of the greatest Yiddish theater writers. And this was actually written for a production in 1932 called Meken Leben no Melost nicht, which in translation into English, such a Jewish kind of theme. You could live, but they don't let you. I love this song. I've read a little about it, and Aaron, you've told me a little bit about it too. Do you remember how much they made when they sold this song?
Yeah, poor Sholem Secunda, back when he wrote it in the early 30s, he needed money, like all of the Jewish composers, and none of the Jewish composers thought that their music was so great like Beethoven or Bach, and they never thought that it would survive them even. So if they could get $25 or $35, and there's a debate whether he sold it for $25 or $35, they'd be so happy because they would be able to put a dinner on their table or food for the week.
Right.
And that's what he did. He sold it
Right.
he sold it, I think, to Khan, Sammy Khan.
Sammy Khan.
And it was performed up in the Catskills.
Yeah,
and
Grossinger's, yeah.
And it became this huge hit. Eventually, actually, fortunately, Sholem Secunda he got back the copyright, and
Did
he
he?
made millions.
Wow, I
So,
didn't realize.
but
Because what I read is that he had lost $350,000 in royalties because this song, and I've actually taught a course about this at the University of Miami, the idea that Yiddish, in many ways, is kind of a foundation of what we now know as modern culture. And this song is the perfect example because you have heard this song. It has been sung by the following, it's been covered by all of these great artists. You ready? The ones who made it the most famous were the Andrews Sisters. But it was also sung by Judy Garland, Kate Smith, Ella Fitzgerald, the Barry Sisters, also known as the Bagelman Sisters, and Rudy Valley. I didn't realize that Rudy Valley did a cover of this great song. It's called, of course, Bei mir bist du schön, right? By me, you are beautiful. And so for those of you who don't understand the Yiddish, let me do a quick translation. I want to tell you that you should hear right away that if you are thinking about love, When you speak to me with your eyes, I would fly away with you wherever you want. I don't even care. If you had a little bit of brains, and if you show me your smiling face, even if you were as wild as an American Indian, even if you were a Galicianer. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, there were Litvaks and there were Galicianer, the Jews who came from Latvia and Lithuania who thought they were very highfalutin. And then there were the Galicianer that were considered the butt of many of the jokes. The peasant, the ones that were more the people who worked the land, the Galicianer from Galicia, the Russians, and the Polish from the countryside. Even if you're a Galicianer, I tell you, I don't care, because by mir bist die schön. By me, you are beautiful. By me, you have charm. By me, for me, you are only one, unique, only one of a kind in the entire world. By me, you are good. You are great. By me, you are it. Bei mir bist die teurer von Geld. For me, you are more valuable than all the money in the world. Ich will dir sagen, dir gleich zu hören, als du sollst mir Liebe erklären. Wenn du redst mit Augen, wollt ich mit dir gefreut, wie du willst, sag mich nicht. Und wenn du hast, dann bist alles Seichel. Und wenn du weißt, dein Kind ist im Schmeichel, wie es will wie ein Indianer, ist doch viel ein Galicianer, sag ich, du sag mich nicht. 1, 2, 3, bei mir bist du schön, bei mir hast du Gein, bei mir bist du einer auf der Welt. Bei mir bist du Gitt, bei mir hast du It, bei mir bist du teurer von Geld. Viel schöne Mädel haben schon gewollt, nehmen mich und von sie alle ausgeklebt. Hab ich noch dich, bei mir bist du schön, bei mir hast du Gein, bei mir bist du einer auf der Welt. By mir bist du schön, please let me explain. By mir bist du schön means that you're grand. By mir bist du schön, again I'll explain. It means you're the fairest in the land. I could say bella, bella, even say wunderbar. Each language only helps me tell you how grand you are. By mir bist du schön. Try to explain, by mir bist du schön and understand. By mir bist du einer auf der Welt. By mir bist du einer auf der Welt. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Nuria Martinez, Armando Orsusa, our wonderful tango dancers. Thank you. The wonderful Klezmer Company Jazz Orchestra, Stefan Zeichner,
Bravo.
Gary Thomas,
Bravo.
Phil Hinton,
Bravo.
and the brilliant maestro Aaron Kula. My name is Avi Hoffman. I am the founder of Why I Love Jewish. Together with my mother, we created this organization to bring you Jewish culture and show you how it has influenced the world in so many wonderful and positive ways. So if you like what we do, please join us, become a member, go to our website, whyilovejewish.org. And to tell you more about the rest of our festival this week, I'd like to invite our incredible executive producing director, Tara Wiedenfeller.
Thank you, Avi. All right, what you just saw was Yiddish Tangos, part of our Why I Love Yiddish Fest 2021. We want to thank again our sponsors for tonight's show, as well as the rest of our festival. We have Office Evolution of Coral Springs, the Betsy South Beach, the University of Miami, Dr. Bruce and Leslie Zaffron, Haft Steintaft and Company, John and Amy Israel Pregelman, Alvin Brown, and Alvin Hagel. Now, if you missed tonight's performance, no problem. You can see it again through the link that was provided to you. But don't miss some of the upcoming events that are coming. We have tomorrow, Wednesday, September 1st, a virtual concert at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Daniel Kahn, the Yiddish song smuggler.
From Berlin, Germany.
From Berlin, Germany. And then we have Thursday, September 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, another virtual concert. The amazing singing sensation Aelita. And we also have Avi Hoffman in Still Jewish After All These Years on Saturday, September 4th at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. We also have many other events, so please go to whyilovejewish.org to see the full lineup. And now Avi Hoffman, Maestro Aaron Kula, and the dancers, and the Klezmer Company Jazz Orchestra and Yiddish Tangos. Thank you.
And to take us out, the Klezmer Company Jazz Orchestra with the Happy